Hey guys, today I'm looking at Puck's If We Shadows Have Offended, the epilogue from A Midsummer Night's Dream. As per usual, I am going to go into the context of the monologue and all the acting choices for it, and also breaking down the meanings for you, but I am going to start with something a little bit different. I'm going to be a little bit controversial. I don't think you should do this monologue for an audition. I know, I said it, and I'm really sorry if that's not what you want to hear, but I'm going to give you two reasons why. Firstly, it's not in iambic pentameter. Now, you might be like, oh, but who cares? It doesn't even matter. But it kind of does, because when you're doing an audition, you often want to show how well you can handle iambic pentameter, because that's the rhythm that Shakespeare uses the most. That's the simplest way I can explain it. And because this is in a different kind of rhythm, it doesn't really show off the same kind of skills. So you're really not optimizing the opportunity to be like, I'm good at Shakespeare. But if it's for something that's like maybe a bit of a smaller company and you just want to show that you kind of get it and you're fun and you've got good character and stuff, that's fine. That's your choice to make. But let me give you my second reason. The second reason is that it's not really in character for Puck. You can take it two ways, actually, this monologue. You can actually decide that this is the actor playing Puck speaking, and I'll explain why when I get to the meanings. Or you can decide that it's Puck, but it's kind of different to what he's usually like, right? Because it's at the end of the play. He's a lot more serious. He's kind of talking to the audience in a really simple and open way. And usually he's a lot more high energy. He's kind of crazy and naughty. So you're actually not showing your version of Puck. It's not really a good place to show how you would characterize Puck. So if you're actually auditioning for the character of Puck, it's also not a good choice. You'd be better off with going with Thou Speaks to Right or one of his other ones. But of course, it's always your choice. So if you feel really connected to this monologue, of course, go ahead and bring everything you got. And that's what I'm going to jump into now in terms of context and acting choices. So in terms of the context of the monologue, of course, it is the epilogue. So it's Puck speaking at the end of the play directly to the audience. And this is very typical of the day, kind of chatting to the audience and being like, well, we hope you liked our play. And if it wasn't very good, then I hope you'll forgive us. And it was just that kind of moment of connection. So straight away, one of your acting choices that you're going to need to think about is how you're going to make eye contact with the audience. If you're in an audition situation, it's not always a good idea to look at the audition panel straight in the eyes, because they often don't like that. So you might need to have an imagined audience if you don't have a group audition situation. The other thing you're going to want to make a decision about is kind of the mood for it. It could be really warm, it could be really intimate, you could get up close to the audience, it could be more mysterious to kind of paint that feeling of the dream. So think about, if you were directing the whole play, how would you want the audience to feel as they're walking out of the theater? So what kind of vibe do you want to give them? And that's your overall kind of vibe that you want to bring to this monologue. And the last thing that you might like to think about in terms of your acting choices is about point of view. Now, I talked about this in my Thou Speaks to Right video that you could also look at. It's really good for a bit of context as well, just Puck generally. It's really important to think about how Puck sees the world, because what he's saying is rhyming and it's got a specific kind of rhythm. It can really easily turn into this kind of nursery rhyme kind of rhythm, and now I'm saying this, da 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 da. And you don't want that, because it will just kind of sound bleh. What you do want is lots of color and variation, but it's going to be subtle, because this is not a big crazy monologue. So what I mean by that is really digging into each word that he's using, especially some of the real keywords like shadows, dream, weak, and idle, and thinking about like, what does he feel about these words? What's his opinion on this? So this is kind of like a word painting thing. So for example, just take the word shadow and think about it feeling different ways to you. Like maybe a shadow is scary, so it might sound like shadow. Or maybe a shadow is mysterious and it sounds like shadow. That might sound really silly, but when you're running something together that's rhyming, having those little words pop out with a bit of color is really important. So they're the main things to think about in terms of context and the acting choices. You don't really need to worry too much about what's come before it, because it is quite separate. It really just kind of tags on at the end like a little coda. So let's jump quickly into the meanings. Now, I just wanted to flag that I found a really great explanation of the meanings on a website, just a random website. I'm going to link that below, because if you're someone that likes to just read it, it's a really good explanation. Otherwise, I'll just take you through it right now. So just to start off with, if we shadows have offended. Now, shadows can be taken in two different ways. It could be shadows referring to actors, because sometimes they were referred to as shadows. Actors was referred to as shadows because it was kind of like a mystical thing that they were doing. But but also shadows could refer to the spirits. So that's your first clue as to what kind of shadow is he talking about here. Does he mean if we actors have offended or if we spirits have offended? Now really these first 4 lines actually come together to one big meaning, so it is okay to kind of run it together fairly well, just don't rush it. If we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. So all of that is just basically if we actors or if we spirits have upset you, or if you thought we weren't very good, or you thought it was a bit rude, just think that this whole thing was a dream and you've just been asleep the whole time. And this weak and idle theme is about the play, so just kind of like this silly old play. No more yielding but a dream, no more kind of real and tangible than a dream is. So just imagine this whole thing was a dream, basically. That's kind of what this whole monologue is about. Now, next, gentles, do not reprehend. This is very much a moment of connection, so do find a moment of eye contact with someone, even if it is an imagined person. Gentles, do not reprehend, so don't be mad at us, don't tell us off. If you pardon, we will mend. So mend usually kind of meant actually like, we kind of think of it as fixing, and they kind of think of it more like improving. So if you kind of give us some leeway here, we're going to get better. So it's kind of an exchange. It's sort of like he's making a deal with the audience. So really trying to invite the audience in is actually really important. And as I am an honest Puck, now I always think that should be said with a little bit of a smile because he's not super honest. But of course that's an acting choice that you can make. Like, does he really mean it? Does he actually think he's honest? Or is he like actually like, as I am an honest Puck, if we have unearned luck, just notice unearned luck, now to escape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. Again, that is like, if you forgive us, we're going to get better. It's actually the same meaning. Now to escape the serpent's tongue, just specifically there, that is about hissing. You know how you go to pantomimes and they're like, boo, hiss. Well, actually the serpent's tongue was about the hissings, and escape was like escape the serpent's tongue. So if we can avoid you like booing and hissing us, we will get better. Just trust us. Trust us. Else the Puck a liar call. Basically, if we don't get any better, you can just call me a liar. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends. Not like this. I used to think it was like, give me your hand. It's like, give me some applause if we be friends. And Robin shall restore amends. So basically like, I'll make everything better if you clap me. One thing you might like to look at here is where are you going to take breaths? Where are you going to divide it into beats? Because you can divide it in different ways or run it all together in different ways. People do it differently all the time. So there's not really a right and wrong as long as we can kind of understand what you're saying. So this is me running it all together the way that I would. If we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend, if you pardon we will mend, and as I am an honest Puck, if we have unearned luck now to escape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long, else the Puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. So that's it from me. And if you have any questions or any monologues that you'd like to request, please drop them in the comments. And thank you for your support, and I will see you next time. Bye. It's calm now. I feel really relaxed.